Well, good afternoon again. Here we are, another planting time. This time I have some Brussels sprouts. Now I'm going to plant them actually in the same bed that you saw me plant the peas in. The peas will die off in June or July, and the Brussels sprouts, they take quite a long time. They won't be ready till the fall, and they'll grow sometimes 3 feet tall, and the little bulblets come off on the sides. But we'll show you that later on in the season. So I had to again purchase these because I didn't have a chance to seed them, but they are they're regular Brussels sprouts. I need my glasses. Father Thomas is getting a little old. So they'll make about 1 inch little diameter Brussels sprouts. They mature in about 150 days, so that tells you the whole season. Now they plant in full sun, which you can see I get here all the time, and you need to space them 12 to 18 inches apart. I'll space them probably 12. And in these little packets, if you're careful and you look at them, this is for 6 plants, but sometimes an extra seed gets thrown in there. So I actually counted them up before I picked them out. I cheated a little bit, but the store was selling them, and so there's 8 actually in here. So I'll be very careful to separate those extras, and we'll plant them in the garden here. So again, I can't put them too close to the peas, but there's my glasses. So I'm sorry, I had to put it on pause. The man next door decided to use his very loud leaf blower. So here I am back again, but you can see I planted most of my Brussels sprouts. They're about 1 foot apart, and I was very tender with the 2 little extra ones, and here's one of them. You see you had to pull it apart, so there's some rootstock there, but it's very, very tender. So I treat them very well, and we put them in the ground again. Don't be afraid, as I say, to press down around them. You make a little circle in the soil so that the rain can catch or whatever water. And like I say, I'm always kind to the little ones, the little plants, because it's been my experience that when I do have something like that, a small little runt of the litter, if you will, that one turns out to be the best producer. I talk to it, I feed it well, and I speak to it, and we garden around it. It's just like in the gospel, Jesus talks about that fig tree that on the way there was no figs on it. And he said, well, if I come back and there's nothing there, I'm gonna curse it. And the vineyard or the grower of the figs said, no, let me have a chance. Let me till the soil around it. Let me tend to it. Let me put some manure, and let's see what happens in the future. And if it produces fruit, it will be good fruit. If not, then you can cut it down and throw it in the fire. That parable is really about you and I, about sin. And Jesus is always giving us that second chance. He is like a gardener saying, okay, let's help that person. Let's till the soil of their soul. Let's feed them some good spiritual nourishment. Let's give them another chance. And then let's see what happens. They may bloom into the biggest and most beautiful fruit tree that we can have, the most beautiful figs. So there's a lesson for us there, even in gardening, and there are so many parables like that. So I just wanted to mention that today. It's one of my favorite, any of the garden parables. But so now we have our peas and our Brussels sprouts planted, and we have a little room. So what to do? Well, I have some lettuce. So lettuce grows pretty fast, and it's a spring crop. This is Butter Crunch. I've grown that before. Here we go. I'll talk to you about that. The Butter Crunch. And what did I do with my glasses? Oh boy, Father Thomas is losing it. Here they are. Okay, my reading glasses. So, tender leaves are edible at any stage, but it matures fully in 50 to 75 days. It takes a month and a half or so. It needs full sun and 12 inches apart. Although I usually put them closer together because I don't have a lot of space. So I'm going to plant some Butter Crunch. It's very delicious, and I planted it a few years ago, and it was very successful. So successful that the rabbits kept coming and eating it on me. But that's okay. I like to share with our little friends. But you can see I put up a fence as well, so that the rabbits don't come in here anymore. In the fall, I let them come in, and they can take whatever they want. And the same with the deer. All winter long, they actually take the gates off of the garden so that the deer don't have to jump over. and they're good, and they fertilize, I'll tell you, a little bit, which is fine. It's good fertilizer. It's all organic and natural. They only eat plant material, and they get some food, and they don't starve in the winter, which is always a concern with the deer. We have so many deer around here, and I know that they're becoming a nuisance, and I hate to say it, but the herd does have to be culled every now and then. Sometimes we have to do that as human beings. It's a responsibility, sometimes a heavy one, but it has to be done. Otherwise, they starve to death in the wintertime, and that's a horrible, horrible death. I would never want any animal to suffer that much. But I allow them to browse the garden and to take what they want. There's enough to share. So you just saw, I just planted 6 heads of Butter Crunch lettuce. I put my little sign in there, and I'll replace those signs with better ones that will tell us what's going on. And that bed is planted now for at least part of the season. When the peas and the lettuce are finished, I can plant something else there. And in the fall, I maybe even just plant some more peas, because again, they like the cool weather, and they'll be good for the fall. So again, remember, you have to treat your plants tenderly. You have to treat one another tenderly, as Jesus treats us tenderly. He wants to spiritually nourish us, and just as we nourish our plants, He nourishes us so that we can grow. We can grow in the faith. We can grow in our love for Him and love for humanity and love for the earth that He's so graciously given to us, this beautiful, beautiful gift. It's a beautiful day out today. I've gotten outside and enjoyed some of it. I hope you have too. But remember to be safe. The pandemic is still going on. A lot of people I see out, but we have to keep our wits about us, keep the social distancing. We don't want a spike in this disease. So keep all that in mind, okay? God bless you, and have a wonderful weekend.